Guys, welcome back to episode 3 of Who is with D today. Today, Vernae, aka V, is with us. She's a basketball player from Alaska, and I'm very excited to interview her and learn more about her hometown and her culture. Hey V, thanks for joining me today. How are you?
Dee, I'm doing great. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
That's awesome. If you're ready, we can start.
Yep.
Okay. What is your native language? Can you introduce yourself, please?
So my native language is Inupiaq, and it's one of the many languages in Alaska. And I'll just go ahead and start. Uvlulotak, good afternoon. Uvinga ataga Vernae Nikaraqlu Uikshaklu Remeth. My
That's your
Inupiaq name, yes.
Okay.
My Inupiaq name is Vernae Nikaraq Uikshak Remeth.
Wow, that sounds really difficult and different.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to learn if you learn later because you use your throat a lot.
So you learned it since when you were born?
Not fluently, but I've
Okay.
heard it enough to kind of know some words.
Okay, and you speak English since you were born?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my main language.
Okay.
I wish that I were fluent in Inupiaq, but
Yeah.
I'm not.
Do
Sadly.
you want to study it?
Yes, I wanted to go back home for as long as I can remember, just to relearn it and learn the culture because it's sadly slowly dying off.
That's awesome. That you want to learn it.
Yeah.
Where are you from in Alaska?
I am originally from the northwestern part of Alaska, but I went to boarding school in the southeastern part of Alaska. But now I'm also currently living in south central part of Alaska.
So you basically lived all over.
Yeah, there's some places that I really still want to see that I
Okay.
haven't been to, but I know a lot of people from all over Alaska.
Wow. And Alaska seems like a really big state too.
Yeah.
So if you want to drive, it's probably a long drive.
There's actually not really any highways
Okay.
everywhere. So the main highways are in the south central part where I live now. But if you wanted to go to where I'm originally from in northwest Alaska, you have to take a plane.
Okay.
You can't drive over.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
hmm
Have you ever seen the Northern Lights, and what kind of experience was it?
The northern lights are one of the most beautiful things about Alaska. A lot of the times they're green and yellow, and if you whistle for them, they dance. But there's also this myth where the elders grew up telling me and my friends that if you whistle to them, they'll dance for you, but then they'll end up chopping your head off. So I think that's just them wanting to get us inside the house at night.
I mean, if I ever see the Northern Lights, I would probably just want to be outside and watch it.
But still to this day, I'm not going to whistle to them because it scares me.
Does it move, or does it always look the same?
They move
Okay.
constantly.
Oh,
yeah.
so can you see it move?
Yeah, it dances for you.
Didn't know that. What are some of your cultural foods, and do you miss it?
I miss all of the culture foods from home. The ones that I miss the most is probably caribou or tutu.
What are those?
So caribou is pretty closely related to reindeer here in
Okay.
Creston. I also miss salmon strips, and it's salmon. Or shefish, another type of fish, or tundra berries, like the tundra blueberries, or ukbeks, which are salmon berries. I also miss what's mukduk, and that translates to whale blubber.
Wow. None of those are familiar to me,
Yeah,
but it sounds delicious.
it's
if
a
you
really
like it.
distinct taste. If you were to try it, you probably wouldn't like it.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Does it taste strong, or is it just really
Some of the
different?
things are strong. So
Okay.
there's also seal oil. I personally am not a big fan of it, but we would offer some to the new teachers into the village, and a lot of the times they wouldn't like it just because of the consistency of it.
Is it slimy?
Some of it can be
Okay.
there's also beaver tail. That has a weird consistency. I also am not a big fan of that. Or there's black bear meat. That one has a strong taste.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if I come to Alaska, I'll definitely try them. Even if I don't like it,
Yeah.
I would try
Who
it.
knows? You
Yeah.
might love it.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about the wildlife?
Growing up in the village, it's really remote to any other big city. The closest hub where a small hospital would be about a 45-minute plane ride, so we're really remote. There's a lot of trees. During the fall time, you can see black bears roaming on the outskirts of town, or wolves, a lot of fox, muskrat, ptarmigan.
Which animal is that one?
Ptarmigan, so it's a white bird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a lot more smaller animals. I just can't remember it from the top of my head.
Yeah, but is it different from Iowa?
Yes,
Okay.
very different.
What are some stereotypes that people think about Alaska but aren't true?
There's a lot of stereotypes
I can imagine.
about Alaska. Firstly, I don't live in an igloo. I actually have been asked that when I moved here to Iowa.
Do you remember who asked it?
No, I don't. But yeah, it was crazy. There's another one, dog mushing. It's not as prevalent, but traditionally, yes, it would be. But now we usually ride snow machines or four-wheelers. There's a dog sled race that's actually happening now at home.
Wow.
But it's
like
a
back
once
in
a
your
year.
village?
Yeah. So the sled race goes all throughout my region, and that's 11 villages.
Mm-hmm.
And they come through Ambler, my hometown, twice, and everyone gathers. We have like a potluck, and we greet the mushers. We give them like traditional clothing, so like maybe a hat or some rabbit mittens, just something to congratulate them for going through the race.
Oh, well, now that you mentioned it, can you tell me about the cultural clothes?
Yeah. So during the winter time, my grandma, she made this parka. So it's like a big, heavy down jacket, or it can be with a thick layer. I can't remember what it's called, but to make it waterproof, you can add like seal fur on the outside of it. That's what a lot of the hunters do. Or sometimes the ruff, like the head part, you can add bear fur or like claws at the end, and then fur along the wrist part. And for the women, you can add like a little skirt. And during the summertime, we have what's called atikluks, and it's basically just like a cotton overshirt. So like if you go berry picking, then you can wear that outside when it's too hot, but all the bugs are bothering you, so you can wear that. There's also rabbit mittens. I've actually made a pair. They're really warm. A lot of the times people put beaded designs on the wrists. And there are also moccasins. Those are also very, very warm. As you can imagine, you have to protect yourself from the cold at home. But for the moccasins, we call them mukluks. You can add in an inner layer of fur for the inside, and then on the outside as well. Or you can do the sea otter to make it waterproof. And people also like to put beading on that as well.
What is beading?
So like beadwork. You just kind of make designs out of beads. A lot of the times they're flowers for women, or for men you can do whatever design they'd like.
Yeah, so do you own all these clothes that you mentioned?
I don't own a parka, but I do own a lot of the atikluks as well as mittens and hats from back home, but I don't have them here with me.
Okay, so do you prefer to wear it, or is it more like something to wear on a special day?
I would like to wear them a lot, but it's really just too hot. I usually only wear them when it gets really cold, like negative 60 degrees. But most of the time, no, I don't, just because it's not as special.
Okay. That makes sense. If, like, you don't want to get too hot.
Yeah.
So if it's cold outside, gotta make sure it's the right
Yeah,
balance.
exactly.
What are some things that must do when visiting Alaska?
You must go hiking because it's so, so pretty. And I'd say boating is a must, just seeing the different terrain, as well as camping especially during the fall time. That's when like all the leaves are pretty,
Mhm.
and all the colors are changing, and it's also hunting season.
That sounds fun. It's like it would be like a vacation of just wildlife and peace, and just
Yes.
relaxing. So it sounds really fun.
I miss it a lot.
Well, you'll go home soon.
Yeah.
What is the best and worst thing about Alaska?
I would say the best thing about Alaska is, like you said, the peacefulness of it, and
Mhm.
just seeing all the nature and just kind of reconnecting with your land. And probably the worst thing is in the village, the lack of resources. Like I said earlier, the closest hospital would be a 45-minute plane ride.
Yeah, that is far.
Yeah, so you have to be really careful at times. Sometimes it can be really scary if you're like in a big accident, then
Mhm.
you call a plane over and they bring you over to the nearest hospital.
So where does the plane come from?
From that same town.
Okay.
Kotzebue, Alaska is the hub for my region.
Mhm.
So that's where we'd be flown out to the next biggest hospital.
Okay. And do you pay for it?
No. So in Alaska, Alaska natives get free health care through the IHS.
That is really awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's
I
really
didn't know
nice.
that.
So I have to be really careful out here in Iowa.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll get a big bill.
It is expensive. What is the biggest city in Alaska, and how big is it compared to Des Moines?
The biggest city in Alaska would be Anchorage, Alaska. That's in the south central part, and that's actually 45 minutes out from where I currently live. It is about 250,000 people, so a little more than half of Des Moines. So it's really small in comparison to Des Moines. And
Yeah.
Des Moines is a smaller city compared to the other bigger cities in
Mhm.
the U.S.
Like, do you go there to have fun, or like go to a movie theater,
Yeah.
bowling?
There's all of that in Anchorage, yeah. Sometimes for sports trips, we would go out to the mall, because that's where really the only malls in Alaska are. There's another small mall in Fairbanks, Alaska. It's a lot smaller compared to Anchorage, but Anchorage is the main place to go to the mall. Or you can go ice skating, I think there's like a golf resort, movie theaters, small shops where you can go shopping, stuff like that.
Okay, so it's not like boring, at least.
No.
That's good. What is considered respectful or disrespectful in your culture?
So there's a set of values that the Inupiat culture follows, and that's called the Inupiat Ilocosate. And respecting your tradition, your elders, nature, others, yourself is a really major part of the values. So that obviously that's one of the most respectful things. The most disrespectful would be blatantly disrespecting your elders or others, or just the tradition in general.
Can you tell me about your typical day?
In the village, I would wake up around noon, and then I'd get together with my friends, and we'd go out riding or boating, and just really doing what we want. It really depends on our mood.
Is it a lot different than here?
Yeah, especially, well, here I don't have a car, so I go whenever my friends want to go to Des Moines.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as terrain, we're surrounded by mountains in the village, so it's just a different scenery, and there's a lot of trees.
Are those green, or does it get?
Yeah, they're
brown?
pine trees, so they stay green all year.
I love those.
Yeah, it's
those are
really
really
pretty.
pretty. Yeah.
Perfect tree hunting during Christmas.
Oh, so you get to choose your own Christmas
Yeah.
tree. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Is there a unique way to greet elders in your community or your culture?
Not as far as I know, but there could be different traditional practices, but I personally haven't learned them, which is
Okay.
really sad, but
Maybe
not as
there
far as I know.
isn't. Okay. What is the most interesting place you've been to in Alaska?
I think the most interesting place would probably be Barrow, Alaska. And Barrow, Alaska is at the tippity top of Alaska. It's the northernmost town. I think it might be in the world, but it's super flat there. And it's right off, you look along the ocean. I went there for volleyball one year, and it was maybe November, but it was already like negative 20 degrees when we
is
landed.
It Fahrenheit?
Yeah,
Or
Fahrenheit.
Okay.
20 degrees Fahrenheit. Negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's freezing cold.
Yeah.
What makes it interesting?
It was just, I guess, being there because you hear a lot about Barrow just because it's the quote-unquote top of the world. There's this kind of landmark where there's these big whale bones, and a lot of people take pictures there, and we got to take team pictures there. But they also have these big cultural events where, like, sometimes, I can't remember what the term is called, but it's kind of like a trampoline but with people and you throw them up in the air, or they have Inupiaq dancing and potlatches, and they have whaling crews. It's just really interesting to learn about the culture there.
Have you been to that festival?
No, I've seen so many posts that my friends have been, but I want to go.
Maybe one day, hopefully.
Yes.
That would be fun. If you want, could you be able to go to the Russia through the border?
I'm not sure if you can legally do that, but I do have friends from Little Diomede Island, and you can see Russia from the island there.
How far is it? Do you know?
I'm not actually sure, but I think it might be like 60 miles.
Okay, that's like...
It's really close.
Really close.
Yeah, because you can just see Russia from there.
Wow. Do you have any family traditions?
Not really, but subsistence hunting is a big thing. I'm not sure it would be a family tradition, more so an Inupiaq tradition or an Alaska Native tradition where we go out hunting for our food.
Have you been hunting?
I have, but it was when I was younger. My brothers and my dad go a lot of the time, and sometimes I'd be able to follow them, but now since I'm in school, I haven't gone.
What was the last thing you hunted? Like, do you remember, maybe?
That would be caribou at the camp where my family owns land at a camp, and it's right below a well-known spot called Onion Portage, and the caribou cross right in front of our camp, so we just get to go out on our boat and choose our game.
Do you have different national holidays that you celebrate?
No, but we do celebrate Alaska Indigenous Peoples Month in November.
How do you celebrate that?
We, at the boarding school I went to, we'd have what's called Founders Week. You got together for that whole week and you can do whatever traditional practices from the different cultures in Alaska. For example, one night we'd have traditional dancing, and you get to just watch the dancers practice their dances, and a lot of the time the dances, they tell their own story. Or on other nights we'd have potlucks, and we'd have what's called Indian tacos, where it's just tacos on top of fry bread. Or there's sewing nights, there's drum making, headdress making, atiklik making, just all these different practices.
That sounds really fun. If I ever visit Alaska, I should definitely go during that time and experience everything.
It's, in my opinion, the best time, because everyone gets together and it's just a really good feeling.
Yeah, and you get to learn more about your culture.
Yes.
And that really sounds awesome. Can you do the dances? Like, are you interested in the dance?
I was in a dance group in my senior year of high school. I learned a few dances. One of the dances was, I think it was like a swan dance. I don't remember it really, but That's the most I remember.
Yeah. Well, that was all my questions for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had so much fun learning about your culture. It was really interesting because I didn't know much stuff about
Yeah.
Alaska, and I hope our listeners also enjoyed it. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to our podcast today. Don't forget to follow Swig on social media to keep up with the updates of the podcast. I will see you guys on the next episode. See ya.
Bye.